we're going to have an amazing session, right? So let me quickly bring up my screen. How are we all doing today? We are all quiet and so dull. Hope it's not the weather anywhere joining us from. All right. Obon, please confirm that you can see my screen. All right, fantastic. So today we are here to discuss an amazing topic that has been boiling over most people's mind. That's what we are here today. Demystifying business analyst terminologies. And this we are going to with a real life case study, right? So today we're going to talk you through what business analysis is, the technologies that we use in business analysis, and then we are going to back it up for you with real life case studies so that we can help you understand everything that you need to know pertaining business analysis, right? And with me today, I have an amazing business analyst, senior business analyst from reputable firms here in Nigeria, right? So stay tuned on the course. You can tap from the well of his knowledge, right? So I am Chukwemeka, and I'll anchor the session tonight, and I'm joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. So I would love to know where you are joining us from so that we can easily relate with each other. So just type in the chat box your name and the location that you are joining us from so that I can easily know people that I have on the call. All right. So let me see it coming in. Your name and the location that you are joining us from. All right. Lu from Canada, Damilola from Luxembourg. Amazing. Adewale from Abuja, Nigeria. You see, we have amazing people cut across the entire globe. And that's part of the things that analytics also promises to give you, like international global connection, where you get to connect with each other. All right, amazing. Margaret from London, fantastic. All right, so if you're just joining us, your name and where you are joining us from so that we can get to know each other. All right, I have Dr. from Calabar, Nigeria. Amazing, amazing. We are still expecting a lot of people to join the session, but we are going to continue while we wait for them. So I don't know why others are not typing in their location for us to understand and be able to connect with them. Is there any special reason why we are not doing that? Just your name and where you are joining us from. Fred from US, amazing. And I also love to know if today is the first time you are joining a session that is organized by Analytics, so that we also know how we are going to structure our conversation tonight, right? So we are going to interact with each other. You, me, so we are going to talk about business analysis so that we get to understand it very well, right? Just type, if today is the first time you're joining our session, just type a 1 so that I will know today is your first time. But if you've been on any of our session before now, you can type a 2 or any number as you wish, all right? So that we also know how we can structure the conversation to enable you flow easily with us, all right? So I can't see people dropping in their comments. I can't see people dropping where they are joining us from. I don't know whether it's the weather anyway you're joining us. Are you what's going on? Are we not happy to be here today? All right. Rama from Oshodi. Okay, Michael Abba from Michael is already in the class. Oh, fantastic. I have Margaret 1, Rama 1. Okay, fantastic. That means we have a couple of people that today is the first time that they are joining us. So without wasting much time, we are going to dive right into it. And also, please note that my colleagues will be dropping the attendance form in the chat box so they can fill the attendance form, right? So that after the session, you will get the recording and also get the slide that we are using for tonight, right? So who are we? We are basically Analytics, the best edtech industry across the globe, right? So we help the Black community get into the tech ecosystem by lowering the entry barrier for people to get into all these roles that they desire. And one of the core functional areas that we are perfectly suited in is business analysis, data analytics, cybersecurity, Scrum, data science, data analytics, data engineering. But today, we are here to talk about business analysis, right? And we have amazing facilitators join us from amazing companies Apple, Wema, Deloitte, KPMG, Sahara Group. And we also have our students working in all these top firms, right? So one thing that does to stand differently in the community, our courses that are structured in a way that they are beginner friendly and they are 100% case study based, right? Which means once you join the class, you are going to be working on case studies, right? We are going to just show you a glimpse of how all these things flow. So just stay on the call while we walk you through this process, right? So we have our founders, Adeza and Efemena Ipro. Adeza Suleiman is a data analyst that has over 10 years experience in the industry, right? And he worked multiple sectors. He worked in energy, he worked in edtech, he worked in consulting, and he worked across so many locations as well, Africa, Europe, and he is the founder. He trained close to 10,000 participants. And we also have a Femena Ikbro, who is also a data science contractor in UK. And he also holds close to over a decade experience in data analytics, data science, data engineering, Power Platform. And he also has personally trained close to 10,000 participants. And with me on the call tonight is our amazing Teso. Hi, Teso. Do you want to say hello to the guys in the house?
Hi, Chukwemeka. Hello, everyone.
All right, fantastic. So that's Teso. Teso is a senior business process analyst with Mama Bank, and he worked with stakeholders to optimize their business processes. He also worked with Fidelity Bank as an information technology business analyst, and he holds close to a decade experience in business analysis, leveraging all the tools that is necessary for this. So tonight, we are going to start from the wealth of knowledge that Teso has garnered over these decades, right? So stay on the course so that you get to understand everything that you need to know about business analysis, because Teso is going to break it down for everyone. So personally, I am Chukwemeka, the CEO of Analytics, and data analysts. I've played roles in data analyst, control, data protection, financial modeling in the banking industry, in fintech and capital markets. And currently, I am the COO of Analytics. Tonight, I'll be backing up this. While we start from Teso, I'll be backing up and be sharing everyone. I will get to understand everything. So there are basically three things that we are going to be doing here tonight. Three things, right? We are going to have a session on demystifying business analysis, right? And this is going to be a case study basis, which Teso is going to handle for us, right? And then I am going to talk about get into all these tech roles, the career paths that you can consider, and how you can get into the business analyst role. And also talk about our upcoming cohorts, which we have an amazing, amazing offer for you by virtue of you being on this call. So just stay tuned because there are amazing things that I've already packed here. We also have a couple of success stories that we are going to play to you so that you get to listen and understand how these people were able to transition from their own roles to being a business analyst. Someone like Ikmat transitioned from being a stay-at-home mom to get a business analyst role in UK. And also Ramat was able to land a job with NHS as a business analyst, and that's after she completed her own program with us. Then also Abigail from being a care worker in Canada, she also became a business analyst. So just on the call, before we are done, you're going to choose one of these success stories that you want me to play for us tonight. Okay, so I'm going to be calling up Teso, so Teso can drive through everything pertaining to business analysis, right? What exactly is this business analysis and how do we get into it? Hi, Teso, please, are you there? You have the floor. Hi, Teso, are you
there? Yes, I am coming up shortly. I'll share my screen and my video is also coming up now.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can see you right.
Okay. So hi everyone. So just give me a second to share my screen so we can walk through the presentation together. So today we are looking at, just like Chukwemeka said, we are going to be looking at a fantastic topic that is about demystifying the terminologies we have in business analysis. Okay, we have quite a lot to say about it, but we're going to make sure that in this session, in this few minutes you're going to be listening to us, we're going to deliver value. All right, so this demystifying business analysis terminologies is what we are doing today. But before that, let's even discuss what is business analysis. So if somebody asks you in one sentence, what would you say business analysis is? So let's take 10 seconds, or let's say 15 seconds, to drop what we think business analysis is in the chat. So if somebody asks you today, what's business analysis? Can you tell us? Okay, so while you're thinking about that, in one sentence, what is business analysis? I don't know, Chukwemeka, do we have answers already? I'm sure we have like 10 or 20 already.
Well, I've not seen any for now.
Okay, maybe I'm still thinking about it. All right. So let's proceed. So business analysis basically is it's a set of tasks and techniques. I don't want to say it in big English. So it is a defined process on how we make businesses better. All right, that's like a general definition. Okay, it's a defined process of how we help businesses do business better. Right. The International Institute of Business Analysis have defined business analysis to be a set of tasks and techniques used to work as a liaison among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of an organization, and to recommend solutions that enable the organizations to achieve its goals. So, like I said in the earlier definition, don't get distracted with this long text I just read. Like I said in the earlier definition, it is how the procedures, how we help businesses do business better. So it means that a business analyst is a solution provider, and we have to come armed with those tools, and those ideas and those solutions, recommend solutions that would work for businesses. So now, who is a business analyst? Simply put, a business analyst is that person who performs these activities that we just talked about. And most times you would find people who perform business analysis not necessarily called business analysts, right? You could hear things like system engineers, system analysts, requirements engineers, process analysts, product managers, product owners, enterprise analysts, and the list goes on and on, right? But if the description involves using this set of tasks and techniques, working as a liaison among stakeholders. We're going to define some of these terms in this session today so that it becomes easier for us to understand and relate with them, right? If anybody who carries out these tasks, working with people, understanding their structures and policies, and also recommending solutions to enable the business to achieve their goal, either to solve a problem or move the business from one stage to the other, that person is performing business analysis. All right, so now that we've understood to an extent what business analysis is, now let's talk about the terminologies, because we talked about things like stakeholders, talked about things like a solution, so let's even look at it. What are these things that we're talking? What do they mean? Who is a stakeholder basically when it comes to business analysis? So first of all, terminologies. The IIBA, that's the International Institute of Business Analysis, created this guide to help business analysts, both people who are trying to get into business analysis and professional business analysts also to understand, to have like a guided terminology, so that when I speak today as a business analyst, somebody who is anywhere in the world also understands exactly what I'm talking about, because these terms are universal, right? So the IIBA created this glossary of terms, to to guide business analysis. So these terms are what business analysts use to perform our day-to-day tasks, so that, you know, when we mention these things, everybody else knows exactly what we are talking about, so that we don't have differences with our communication, and then there's a common understanding of the business analysis concept. So there are a lot of terms, right? But we're going to start, because this is we're trying to introduce you to these terminologies, and then we also have experts in the field who are on the call, who are listening, that want to also build their vocabulary of business analysis terminologies. We're going to break this down and also use a case study to help us understand exactly what these terminologies are and how they apply, right? So we're going to be looking at a few of them, but these are terminologies that you would hear on a daily basis if you work within a business analyst environment. So the first one we're going to be looking at is a scope, right? By definition, a scope is the boundary of control of a change, a solution, or a need. Like, what are we going to be working on? What exactly? So if we are doing business analysis and we want to help the business do the business better, we cannot do everything per time, right? So what exactly are we going to be working on? Are we going to be working with the finance department? And if we're working with the finance department, what exactly in the finance department are we trying to work on? What's the change we are looking for to happen? What's the solution we are bringing, or what is the need of the finance department? So a scope is basically the objectives and the requirements needed to complete a project. I know we have terms like requirements, project in here, but we're going to break that down in the coming slide so we understand exactly what these are, right? But so the scope is saying, what are those things that we need to complete this particular venture that we are going into, you know? And then it helps us to know, a scope helps us to stay focused, right? So that we don't deviate. If we say we want to build an elephant, for example, let us not end up building a dog because we were not focused enough, right? And somebody says an animal is an animal. No, what we want is an elephant, not a dog, right? So we stay in scope. So scope controls our endeavor. It helps us stay on track with what we are doing, right? So that's the scope. And for every time we need to act on a business problem, we need to have a scope, and the scope has to be well defined. If it's not done that way, we are setting ourselves up for failure already. So number two would be a project. So in the definition, we saw that requirements need to complete a project. So what is even a project? So the project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or a service, because we are looking for a result, basically, right? We're looking for a result. For example, we are working with the finance department to help them with some kind of solution to help maybe track expenses or all of that. We are going to work on that for a period of time. We won't work on it for forever, right? So that time we have allocated to work on this is called a project, right? That the activity, the time and the activity and the money we are spending on giving the solution to the finance department, for example, is the project. That's what. So it's temporary. We work on it and we deliver that unique product or a solution or a service or the result that we were looking for in the first place. So the next is a process. So a process is a set of activities, right? Process defines step by step in chronological order how things are done or how things should be done, right? So it gives us specific input to say, when you do this, this happens. For example, with our finance department example, if you say, so if there is a request for a payment, right? The request for a payment is brought to the finance department. Then the next step is that checks would happen. Checks for authenticity of the receipt if policies were followed and all of that. So there's a process and it's step by step. So that is what a process is, a set of activities that are designed to achieve a specific objectives, right? So this would be in place and it's usually defined and documented, and everybody has an understanding of what should be done. All right, so that's a process. Then what is a need? A need in business analysis would be seen as, regardless of what you would have known a need to be, in business analysis, we understand a need to be a problem or an opportunity that needs to be addressed. That's what a need is. So we can say a business need, a project need. We're referring to an opportunity or a problem. So in business analysis, we don't call it a problem or an opportunity straight up. We say it is a need, or more or less a business need that we need to address, that opportunity that we need to address and create a product or a solution out of. Then we have a matrix. So what the matrix helps us to do is to represent information. So there are several kinds of matrix that exist in business analysis. We're going to be looking at one in our example, right? So they help us to represent information, most times to even compare the impact, to show us our next line of actions. We have something called a stakeholder analysis metrics that we use to analyze our stakeholders. By talking about stakeholders, we're going to be looking at exactly who stakeholders are with respect to business analysis shortly. Now, we mentioned requirement before. Requirement. What is a requirement? A requirement is simply a condition. What are the conditions that we need to meet to say that we have successfully delivered value on this particular project? By now, I know we understand what the project is. A short-term, a temporary endeavor that we undertake to produce a result or a product or an outcome, right? So what are those conditions that we need to fulfill to say we have delivered the solution within the project time, right? So the International Institute of Business Analysis have defined a requirement as a condition or a capacity required by a stakeholder. Stakeholder is coming again. We'll break that ice very soon. To solve a problem or achieve an objective. So look at it in the layman language as a to-do list. So what do we need to do to accomplish this particular solution, to achieve this particular objective? In business analysis, we refer to that as a requirement. Now, there's also a terminology in business analysis that we refer to as elicitation. Elicitation. So this is how we get information that we refer to as requirements. That to-do list that we're talking about, the to-do, those things that we need to do to deliver this project. How do we get them? That is through elicitation. So elicitation is the steps that we use to extract information or requirement from stakeholders. We'll soon know who these stakeholders are. And these techniques could be brainstorming, document analysis, focus group interface analysis, interviews, observation, process modeling, prototype, requirements workshop, surveys, or questionnaires. All of these, we break them down into details when you enroll for our business analysis class. We leave no stone unturned to deal with this. In fact, I always tell my students a funny story about which is my favorite. Right? I know Ubong will be laughing somewhere now because I always tell that story. My favorite is workshops, because when I do workshops, there's item 7. In fact, most times there's breakfast and lunch, and I love to eat. So yeah, I always say that we break down all of this elicitation techniques and look at which one best suits a project, because elicitation is one of the major things, one of the key things that we need to do to get requirements. And if we don't get the right requirements, if we don't use the right elicitation technique and we don't get the right requirements, we are set out to even fail on delivering the project at the beginning. So it is a very important aspect that we look on. We have practical examples that we do to help students understand elicitation, and also which technique to use and at what time. I mean, it's always, you can always combine a number of techniques to give you the results that you desire, right? All of that is what we do. But today we are focusing on elicitation. And elicitation means, extracting those techniques, those steps you use to extract, to get information or requirements from stakeholders. Requirements we have defined to me those conditions that must exist to say we have fully satisfied the stakeholders request or the stakeholders objectives for carrying out that particular project. And we have defined what a project also is. So now these guys have been featuring in the slides from the beginning. Stakeholder. Who are these guys? Right? This is an individual or group of individuals or a group that has a direct relationship, whether direct or indirect, to the change that we seek to see, or the need. We have defined what a need is, a problem or an opportunity, to the solution. So they have a direct relationship. That is, this solution, this need, this problem we are trying to solve would directly affect them or would indirectly affect them. So when I was talking about matrix, I talked about a stakeholder analysis matrix. That would help us. We're going to look at it shortly also. Determine who has more impact out of these stakeholders. Yes, we have a lot of stakeholders that would be associated with our project or our solution, but which one of these has more impact on this solution, so that we'll focus more on them and not, we know how to share our efforts in managing these guys. So stakeholders are broadly divided into two: the internal stakeholders and the external stakeholders. Internally, we have people like employees, managers, and then the owners of the business. The owners could be senior management or also shareholders, depending on the structure of the organization. Then we have the external stakeholders, who could be suppliers, the society, government, creditors, shareholders, and then also customers. So it depends, right, on what kind of solution you're working on. Any of these guys can be stakeholders in your problem, in your project, and that is why we need stakeholder. We need to first of all understand who our stakeholder is, which we have defined, and then understand exactly which of these stakeholders is relevant to my project per time, because all of them will not be relevant all the time, and they will not also be relevant equally, right? Not all stakeholders are born equally. I say that all the time, right? Yes, they may be stakeholders. In fact, the senior management of your company, because they're senior management, doesn't mean they have they have interest on your project that much, right? They could have high authority but not high interest. So stakeholder, knowing who your stakeholder is and analyzing them properly would help you understand exactly how to address these people. So yeah, we understand who a stakeholder is now. We have been mentioning them all along. Then a sponsor. Who is a sponsor? Sponsor is the term we use. So who is your sponsor? I have a meeting with my sponsor. My sponsor said my sponsor requires that, right? We use that a whole lot. So who is this sponsor? Our sponsor is also a stakeholder, but this time around is the guy that has the money and the authority to say we can proceed with this project or not. So a stakeholder is a sponsor is a stakeholder who is responsible for initiating the effort to define a business need. It could be both ways. It could be us initiating and saying, we need to do this within your space, and you are the project sponsor. Or the sponsor says, I need this to be done, and I need you guys to develop a solution. We have this need, and I need you guys to develop a solution to solve that need. And then they are going to go ahead to authorize. By authorizing, it means that they have authority to give us money to spend on the budget, you understand, to basically fund the idea that we have for us to deliver that project. Like in our finance department example that we started with, that would be the head of finance or the chief finance officer. That will be our sponsor, right? So he has the authority and he also has the money to give us to do our project. The next is gap analysis. All right, so we use gap analysis a lot, especially in doing our business analysis work. So gap analysis is defined as the comparison between the current state and the desired future state of an enterprise in order to identify differences that need to be addressed. And so we teach gap analysis in detail in our program. There are different perspectives to gap analysis. We have the organization perspective, we have the business direction perspectives, we have the project perspective, and several other perspectives that we look at gap analysis. We even have gap analysis as relates to an individual. When you're doing your personal gap analysis, you're looking at where you are today and where you need to be tomorrow. So gap analysis is a terminology. It's also a technique that we use in business analysis to help us to know the difference, what the gap that exists between where we want to be as a business and where we are today. And then it helps us to draw an action plan to close that gap, basically. So we go from where we are to where we intend to be. Right, there's a whole topic, a whole week of discussion that happens around gap analysis. But for the purpose of today's class, we are defining what it is, and we'll give quite a simple example to help us understand or drive home what gap analysis is. So the next is the governance process. You can call it the change governance process if you want, or the change management process. So this is, we also refer to this a lot, right? We have met with our sponsor, everybody. We have decided that we are going to we're going to make this happen, right? We're going to do a project. We're going to implement a new solution. Organizations have laid out procedures for approving this change. Yes, the sponsor would have approved. That is, has given us budgetary approval for us to spend from his budget. The organization is also going to approve, right? There are usually a group of people set up called maybe the change approval board. It can be called any name depending on the organization that you're looking at, right? To approve that change or solution. So they will take decisions to say, okay, although the sponsor has said you can spend, the organization wants to know if there is a justification for spending that money at this time, right? Or does it even sit within our goals as an organization, or how does it even impact us, positively or negatively? So a body sits down to look at that. So we refer to that as change governance, right? Or the governance process or the change management process. So it starts with the request for the change, then an impact analysis is also carried out to see what kind of impact this change is going to have. Then they proceed to approve or deny. Like I said, the organization can also decide to deny that change and at that particular moment, based on several other reasons that they can cite, right? So they can approve or deny it, and then the next, if it's approved, we move to implement that change, and then we review it and report that change, and then that process goes on alone. If we have a change request again, we come back to do that. But ultimately, we are looking at what a change process governance is, or change management process is, right? And which is the process by which the appropriate decision makers use to use relevant information to make decisions regarding a change or a solution, including the means for obtaining approvals and priorities, right? So if we give them the information about the change, they use that to make a decision, and which includes also prioritizing which change they will take first. So if myself and Chukwemeka present a change to the change approval board, they would have to vet it and see which one would go first, right? Denying mine may not necessarily mean that they don't want that change, but it means based on priority, Chukwemeka's change would have to go first, which is why there's a governance process in place to manage that. All right, so we're going to be looking at our case study, but before we do that, do we have any questions? Let me look at the chat. Do we have any questions? Okay, I don't think I see any questions so far. So it means we understand. If we're following, can we please drop a 1 in the chat? Just drop a 1 in the chat if we're following, so that and then if you're giving me permission to proceed to the case study, so we can further digest what this terminologies mean in a real life scenario. Okay, Layo, Tolu, Margaret, Sani, I see you. Okay, Gaswin Enterprises, I see. All right, so it means we have been driving the gospel of business analysis and business analysis terminology home. Okay, so let's move to the case study. So it's a case study of A1 Clothing Limited. It's a fashion company based here in Lagos, Nigeria, and they are e-commerce. They have an e-commerce platform and they specialize in fashion retail. So you can jump on that as an individual to, satisfy your need as a customer when it comes to fashion. So, but they have realized that the customer experience on that platform, it's not so top-notch, and they are losing customers as a result. So they have brought this problem, they have brought this opportunity, they have brought this need. So we refer to this as a need. They have brought this need to us, which is a problem or an opportunity. In this case, is a problem, right? Because they want to enhance their customer experience, obviously, because the customer experience hasn't been that great from past experiences. So we need to look at this, right? Now, first of all, we're going to look at scope. Remember, we define scope. What we define scope to be, the boundaries within which we are going to work, right? So in this case now, our scope is focusing on improving the customer experience for A1 Clothing Limited. So how are we going to do? What are we going to do? What does it include? This includes identifying and addressing the pain points of the current customer journey to enhance satisfaction and loyalty. So the scope is that what is our customer journey today? Let's look at that customer journey, and it is based on what we have there that we are going to say, okay, let us change a few things to be sure that we have a better customer journey that will enhance customer satisfaction. So the scope is majorly around the customer journey and customer satisfaction. So anything that doesn't have to do with what we just read out now, it's not in scope for this project, right? So we define exactly what we are going to do to achieve the enhanced customer experience for A1 Clothing Limited. Okay, so stakeholders. So who are the stakeholders? We define stakeholders to be those individuals or groups that have a direct relationship to our project. That is, this project is going to affect them directly, either directly or indirectly. So these people are stakeholders. So our stakeholders in this project will be the company's executive, right? The marketing team, our IT department. So the executive, of course, they're going to sponsor, they're going to give us money, right, to execute the project. The marketing team will give us insight when it comes to how our customer journey is currently today. The IT department, of course, is going to implement whatever solution we come up with. The customer service representative, these guys are the front-facing people that interface with customers, especially when customers complain about their experience and all of that. So they would have input to give us. They would work with us as subject matter experts, right? Then we have the end users. Of course, these are the guys that have first-time experience with our customer experience that is not so good that we're trying to enhance, right? So these are the guys. These guys are also going to be affected by the outcome of this project. So they are our stakeholders. Then we also move forward to the sponsor. Of course, you know that we need money for these, right? So the project sponsor is a chief marketing officer, because this is directly within his jurisdiction, and he would champion the initiative and provide necessary resources in terms of finance and maybe human resources, and then support for the success of this project. Okay, so what is then our need? So the need for this project arises from the declining customer satisfaction scores. So we know that our customer satisfaction scores have been low and customers are beginning to abandon our website. For example, maybe they go to our e-commerce platform and they don't complete any action on the platform. So we see that we are having high bounce rates on our website. The data from our website, the analytics from our website would help us know that this is happening. So when we have high churn rate, there's increased churn rate, and then we are not getting that impact that we need our e-commerce platform to give us. That is when we see that, okay, there's a need. So we understand and address the root cause of the customer dissatisfaction, and it will help us to stay competitive in the market. So that's the need. The need is to become competitive in the market, to address these pain points of customers, why they are being dissatisfied with our e-commerce platform. Then a requirement. What are the requirements for this project? Remember, we define requirement as a condition that we need to fulfill to tell us that we have met the objective or the goal of our stakeholders. So the primary requirement for the project is to conduct a comprehensive analysis of the customer journey, which we've mentioned earlier, identifying the pain points and areas of improvement. Let's know exactly what and why our customers are leaving our e-commerce platform. Why? What is that issue? Is it that our search button is difficult to find? Is it that our search functionality doesn't work as such? So if I'm searching for A, it gives me Z, right? Then the analysis will inform the development of a targeted solution to enhance the overall customer experience. So what we find from this analysis is going to help us understand what our customers need and build a solution that is targeted to solve that problem. Then the process. So we're going to, in this project, like remember I said, process is in a step-by-step activities that are required to complete, tasks. All right. So in this project, we are going to follow a structured methodology, right? So we talk about our maybe software development methodologies. We're also going to be looking at requirement elicitation. Remember, we define elicitation, right? The way we collect information, those are the requirements from our stakeholders. But we're also going to be looking at requirement elicitation techniques like interviews, and then sessions like workshops to help get our requirements from our stakeholders. We also look into customer insight, do surveys to customers to see what they think about that. We also do data analysis, right? Because we need to analyze the data, the insights from our website to understand what these customers, the behavior of these customers on our website. So that is also going to follow a structured process, right? So there are processes to whatever we are going to be doing in this project. So those structured set of activities that we are going to use to carry out the activities in this project are referred to as processes. Then, of course, a matrix. I mentioned that we'll create a stakeholder analysis matrix. So a stakeholder analysis matrix is a 2x2 that will help us see what the interests of the stakeholders are and then the power they have over the project. So we can say power, influence, and then interest in the project to see how, so that we can better categorize these stakeholders and prioritize our engagement towards them. Because, of course, like I said, not all stakeholders are equal on the project, right? So we have to treat the most important stakeholders with the level of respect or the level of engagement that we need to give them, communicate them and engage them, build strategies for doing so that we don't leave them hanging at any point in time. We carry them along. We don't ignore any stakeholder at any point in time. Then gap analysis too. So we're going to use gap analysis. Remember, we said gap analysis is comparing where we are today and where we intend to be. So our position today is that the e-commerce platform for A1 clothing is, not giving customers the experience they need to get. So that's our current state. Where do we need to go to? We want our customers to have the best experience they can get. So what is the gap? What exists between where we are today and where we are going to be, where we need to be tomorrow? It means we are going to analyze the problems that we have on this e-commerce platform, and also build a solution to meet the needs and expectations of our customers. Of course, we are going to build actionable steps that would help us build this solution to meet the needs of our customers. All right, so that's all we have for today. If we have questions, we'll be more than glad to welcome them and answer those questions. So you can feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we'll be right there to answer them. But thank you very much. That's the end of the class. Chukwemeka.
Yeah, hi, Teso. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, fantastic, amazing session that you had there. So guys, we still have the Q&A. So if you have questions relating to business analysis, just write it down. Before we are done with the entire session, we are going to call you up and we're going to take your question, okay? So I'll jump right into the second phase of what we have for tonight. So let me share my screen immediately. So fantastic. I don't know if you've been following us up to this moment. Just drop a 1 in the chat box so that I will know that people have been here and I've heard say so all this while. So just drop a 1 in the chat box so that we will know that you are still here. All right, fantastic. I'm seeing it too. Hi, Layomi. Are you sure you're here? That's by the way. Okay, I think Layomi has a question. So we're going to take those questions by the end of the entire session. All right. So basically, Teso has walked us through everything that we need, not everything, right? But the basic things that we need to know relating to business analysts, right? How do people, what exactly do they do on the job? The process mapping, gap analysis, everything that you need to know, the terminologies, he has walked us through them. But how do you become a business analyst, right? So all these things that I've been saying this night, how do you become a business analyst? So basically, I'm not going to try to introduce business analysts again because Teso has done an amazing job. So I'm just going to touch on the key learning areas that you are going to be witnessing in the classroom. So basically, before you get into the full business analysis program that we offer, we are going to give you the basic data analytical tools that you need. Because one thing that we'll notice over the years is that sometimes these requirements, job requirements, comes with little data knowledge. So that's why we've added Excel, SQL, Power BI to the curriculum for you to be able to have the knowledge of these key data analytical tools before you jump into the business analyst proper. So once you join the program, we are going to start you off with Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And after that, you now move to process mapping. How do you process map? I know Teso has walked us through a couple of things, but just to trace on process mapping a little bit. For example, you own a fashion house, right? And basically you do your you draw your map, how your process totally runs end to end. First, you are going to go to the market and do market survey, and then you come back to your shop, and then you do requirements gathering, and then customer comes to take their measurements. That's you gathering requirements. From there, you move into the phase of design. That's you designing the cloth. And from design, you're moving into testing. That's the clients testing the clothes that you've done. Then after testing, is it okay? Are we pushing it to production, or are we going back to design? So this is you, even without knowing, as a fashion designer in Nigeria, UK, and Canada, or anywhere you're joining us from, you are currently practicing process mapping, right? So these are things that we try to enhance and make it permanent and elaborate for you to understand how to make these things easier, right? So when we explain it with simple works like this, it seems easier, but then how do you do process mapping for a large conglomerate? So these are things that we're going to walk you through in the classroom using Lucid Charts for you to know how to do this, Lucid Chart and Draw.io. So from there, we'll move you to Agile and Scrum for projects, right? So basically, we all know that Agile is like the modern aspect of project management, right? So when you talk about project management, we basically have two, which is the waterfall and the agile. And waterfall is just like you are washing clothes, right? The one person is using hand to wash their clothes, and agile is the person that is using washing machine to wash their clothes. They will still achieve the same thing, but how fast and how well these things are done is not depending on those methods, right? So we have agile and scrum for projects here, because over the years, we've noticed that companies are moving away from the waterfall aspect and they're now pushing towards agile and scrum methodologies, right? And that is why it is part of what you are going to be learning. Of course, once you've learned it, you are going to be using the Jira software for your project management tool. You're going to use the Jira, the Trello, and of course, Confluence for you to be able to put all these things in phases. And after the Agile Scrum, you are moving to software development lifecycle. From there, moving to requirements fundamentals and elicitation, like Teso mentioned, and of course, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and ChatGPT for business analysis. So basically, you've seen that this course is fully packed, right? And trust me, you're not going to get this anywhere else. You're not going to get the core data analytical tools and also get the main business analysis programs, right? So why we added Excel and Power BI and SQL here is because we know that on the job, sometimes you see roles like business data analyst, data business analyst is so much more rolled up, right? So that's why we found it very, very needful for we to have those core data tools for you to learn. And we all already know the average salary of a business analyst in UK is roughly £52,000, and in Canada is $74,000, and US it's 85,000 US dollars. So our learning timeline is basically 4 months, right? What it means is that you are going to have an immersive classroom learning for 2 months, and then you will intern with us for 2 months, where you're going to work on a project managing a web app. And that's basically part of things that you are going to put in your portfolio, right? So, and this is not just it, right? Like I mentioned, you see so many career options that is available for you as a business analyst. You see business analyst, you're going to see continuous improvement analyst, you're going to see change management analyst, you're going to see business support analyst, you're going to see business process analyst, operations analyst, IT business analyst, and business systems analyst. And these are part of the things that we also talk about in our mentorship programs that I will talk about shortly, right? Because most times why people struggle to get jobs is because we are keen on just looking for that exact role that we're looking for, business analyst, and that's just it. But these days, all these terminologies has been modified to a lot of things, right? And once you understand the key areas that that role entails, you will know that it's still the same thing a business analyst would do that a change management analyst is going to do. So, and these are things that we talk about in our CV review sessions, in our mentorship session, in our review meetings to bring you up to speed with what is going on. Now, why should you train with us? Why should you train with us at Analytics? Basically, we have several reasons why you should train with us. Number one is because of our phenomenal achievement with helping people get jobs. So we've helped over 2,000 people transition from classroom into their first job in the tech ecosystem in UK, US, Canada, and Europe. And we have a track record for the past 4 years, right? So like I mentioned, I'm still going to play the testimonial of someone before I finish. So just be going through, because it helped me to choose the exact person that I will play that testimonial. Number two reason is because we have industry standard facilitators and curriculum. So what we've done is to make sure that we bring in experts in this area into the classroom so that they teach you based on real life case studies and not you being taught based on theoretical aspects. Someone like Teso is a full-time business analyst with Una Bank. He's done full-time business analyst with Fidelity Bank, and he is the facilitator for this program, right? And you are also going to see people that work in so many other places coming in to teach you this area. So you have a standard facilitator that have experienced it, and the person is now going to pass the knowledge back to you based on real life case studies, right? And this is something that we always brag with, real life case studies, because what makes people struggle most time with some of these courses is that if it's more of theoretical, you tend to struggle with the aspect of the practicals. But when you are taught practical wise, that makes it very, very easy for you to know, right? And our curriculum also is top standard. We always modify it and include new things that is happening in that ecosystem. And that's why you are seeing things like Power BI, Excel, and SQL inside a business analyst program, because we want to equip you with all those skills. You need all those skills for you to be able to, move easier and easily transition into the tech ecosystem. Number three reason is because of our blended training model. So we have a way where we have the normal interactive session, classroom learning session. The way Teso was talking to you today, that's the same way he will be in a classroom talking to you live. And if you have any question, you always are liberty to call back. Okay, hi Teso, I didn't understand what you said about elicitation. Please, can you repeat, right? And he will do that. And we also have the recorded aspects. So even if you miss a class, maybe you have work or you had an emergency that you need to attend to, the recording will always be uploaded to your Google Classroom. And what it means is that after your day's life, you can always go back and watch that video. And you have lifetime access to the video. So even on the job, if you are struggling with a particular topic or you're trying to understand, okay, what's SWOT analysis, how do I go about SWOT analysis, you can always go back to the classroom and rewatch all those videos and be able to practicalize what you learned. We also have tailored sessions to position you to land jobs, right? So like I mentioned, we have what we call our CV review sessions, our LinkedIn optimization session, our Upwork review session, where we help to give you the necessary things that you need to know. I'll still talk about this extensively, right? And that's based on our three-layered approach, which we termed our employability services. So aside giving you the full skill and competence that you need, we also offer you the employability services that is also going to get you there. Because what we've noticed over the years is that sometimes people have amazing skills, amazing competencies, but they do not have the soft skill aspects to actually bring them forth before they can now show themselves. That's why we introduce all these additional employability services. Number one, which is our CV review sessions, right? So we are going to teach you how to match your job to your CV. For example, if you have SQL knowledge and the job advert is saying that they need a Postgres knowledge, Postgres is the same thing with SQL. But if you don't know how to match your CV with the job requirements, the applicant tracking system is automatically going to throw your CV back, right? But so we're going to put you in the class, teach you everything that you need to know. And we're also going to teach you LinkedIn optimization, right? And these are things that help people to land jobs easily. And what we've noticed in the past is because we have people that have so much certifications, right? But they lack that initial skill and competence. So the tech ecosystem is filled with certification, competence over certification, right? That's the watchword in tech, competence over certification. It's who has the competence that is going to get the job. If you like, have the CBAP, have the IIDA, have all the certification in the world. If you do not know how to do process mapping, if you don't know how to elicit information, if you don't know how to do gaps analysis, you are not going to be seen as a business analyst. So that's why we first of all give you all those necessary skills and then give you the CV review that you need, which is going to get you to the job. And then you can now do continuous improvement on yourself. Right. Number three, which is Upwork optimization. If you want to play in the aspect of freelancing, where you can stay in Nigeria and work for companies in Canada and UK and across the globe, we also have Upwork review session where we teach you how to do these things. Also, we have number four, which is navigating the job market. How do you navigate the job market? What and what do you need to do? We bring in experts in this field. We bring in recruiters across the globe, recruiters in UK, recruiters in Canada, recruiters in Africa to come into the class and be able to teach you what you need to know. What are recruiters looking out for currently in this exact role? These are things that we also offer to you. Then number five aspect, which is job and interview prep sessions. So if you are with us and you get interview invitation, we are going to prep you to prepare for that exact interview that you have. How do you answer the question of tell us about yourself? Is it just, oh, my name is Chukwemeka, I'm from the East and have so and so? No. Or are you using the SIT framework to answer the question of tell me about yourself. So these are the things that we are going to provide for you and make sure that you have them. We also provide recommendation and reference letters for our students. So if any agency has need for it or any company has need for it, we provide recommendation and reference letters. Number two aspect of this level, which is weekly mentorship sessions. So every week, we bring in mentors, experts in this area to come into the class and also tell you what you need to know. What are the latest trends in this exact business analysis, right? So we also bring in past students that have left the class. They'll come back and serve as body mentors for you. So you have direct link to them. You know, the reason why some of us struggle to transition into the tech, we are learning a lot of things over 2 years, we're not able to transition is because we lacked mentors initially. So if any new thing comes, MongoDB is out, we'll jump and learn. IBM is doing a training, we'll jump and learn. Google is doing, we'll jump and learn. But those core areas that we need to know, nobody handheld us to say, okay, you need to know this, you need to know that. This is what's going to help you in this exact area. So that's why we have mentors come into the class so that I can have live direct access to them, so that I can be able to tell you, okay, this is what I did during my own time. This is the area that I found issues. This is how I navigated it. So we provide all these services for you. And number 8, which is the on-the-job support. If you get a job, we are also available to support you for 1 month till you can comfortably play your role on that exact job. Then number 3 aspect is our promise to you, which is basically 1 month after you are done training with us, you must get 1 job interview invitation. And why and how are we boasting about this? That's because we have partnership with recruiters. We have partnership with Havinash, Michael Page, Adeko Manpower, and also recruiters here in Africa to be able to pick our students once they are done with their program. So once you're done with your normal training phase and complete your capstone project, you move towards the internship and complete your internship, you also enter a pool where once any of these agencies reach out to us, we can comfortably push you into that exact interview. So it's a promise that 1 month that you are done training with us, you must get 1 job interview. Number 2 initiative that we also have is the body mentorship, like I already mentioned, where you get to have direct mentors telling you this is what you need to know for you to be able to survive in this area. And also have enhanced our internship experience. Before now, we used to have 1 month internship for business analysis, but now it's a 2 months internship program where you get to build end-to-end project with Scrum Masters and be able to say, okay, I've comfortably worked on a project. You know, one thing that will distinguish you when you go for interviews, when you present your portfolio and they have seen that, okay, you worked on this project, you worked on this project, you worked on this project, you already have all those experience. So by virtue of you just training with us, we provide data sets from the financial sector, you work on it, provide data sets from energy, you work on it, provide data sets from hospitality and you work on it. That means you've worked across these 3 key areas. And mind you, it's not fictitious data. All these data are real life case studies that come to us directly to work on. So what we do basically is to codify them because of the GDPR and NDPRs, right? So that we don't get to pass on important information. Once we codify them, we also have people work on these real life case studies. So you can comfortably beat your chest and say, oh, I worked on this project, I worked on this project, right? So all these things, we have made it possible for you. And our next cohort is starting on the 4th of May 2024. And we have an amazing discount for you by virtue of you being on this call. So technically, the course goes for $750, but because you are here, we have a 33% discount for you. And that means instead of paying $750, you get to pay $500. Instead of paying 1,125 Canadian dollars, you get to pay $750 dollars. Instead of paying 625 pounds, you get to pay 425 pounds. And instead of paying 730 euro, you get to pay 475. And if you're in Nigeria, instead of paying 900,000 naira, you pay 600,000. And this is not for everyone. It's basically for the early birds. the first 30 people to get into this exact cohort. And what I've noticed over the months is that once we do sessions like this and we are done, these slots are easily filled. So what I'll advise you to do is take advantage of it now that it's currently on. Last month, we had a 50% discount and some people didn't take it, right? And this month is only 33. So if you are still wondering, okay, maybe next month are we, you may not get to meet any discounts at all. And we also have payment structures where you can actually pay instrumentally, but the requirement is that before the 30th of May, you get to pay the complete amount, right? So that means instead of paying 600,000 naira once, you can decide to pay 400,000 naira now for you to be able to lock down this exact pricing that it is on. And then before the 30th of May, you get to pay the remaining amount, right? So I'm going to walk us through how to make payments. So it's simple. Once you click on the pay stack link, on the main stack link, it's going to take you to the page that you are going to make payments. So 1 second, so I will share my screen again. All right. Okay, it's coming out. Okay, fantastic. So once you click on the link that my colleague dropped in the chat box, it's going to bring you to the main stack link. So what happens is that if you are in Nigeria, automatically it's going to pick the payment option for it to be in Naira. If you're in UK, it's going to pick the payment option for it to be in pounds. If you're in Canada, it's going to be in Canadian dollars and so on and so forth, right? So automatically your location is assessed and then it will now pick the exact currency that you are going to make your payment in. So once you click on the link, it's going to bring you here. And what you need to do is just go to where you have your program, which is business analytics, right? So this is it, business analysis. So I'll click on the link and it's automatically going to bring up the page for me to make payments. It's going to bring up the page for me to make payments, right? So it's coming up. Okay, so the main stack store is up. And once it comes up, what you just need to do is to put your details and then the price. All right. Put your details and then the price, right? So automatically it's showing me the price here, which is 100,000. So once I click on this 100,000 and I'll put proceed to pay, it's automatically going to proceed for me to check out. I'll simply put in my name, put in my email address, put in my phone number. Okay. All right, I'll select the Nigerian flag. Because I'm currently in Nigeria, and then type my phone number. So once you do this, click on proceed. It's automatically going to bring up the checkout option for you to make payments. So it's as simple as that. If you want to make payments using the transfer option, just simply select on the transfer and a bank account will come out for you to make payments. If you want to use the card option, you can simply put your card details here and then click to pay, and then that's successful. If you want to do the transfer, you can simply click on transfer and the bank accounts that you need to make the transfer to will come out. So as simple as that, right? So my colleague has dropped the link in the chat box. So if you want to make payment right now, I'll advise you to instantly log into, click on that link and be able to be part of the people that we have this access. Okay, remember, this is not for everyone. It's basically for the first 30 people to join the class. It's for the first 30 people to join the class. All right, so I promise that I'm going to play a couple of video before we are done so that we know how these guys were able to transition. Because sometimes when we talk about these things, it always sounds like it is not possible. It always sounds like it's not possible, but it is possible. right? It is possible. So I'm going to play a couple of videos so that we get to hear what others had to say. So I'm going to play Ikmat's video. All right. I'm going to play Ikmat's video. So we'll get to listen to what Ikmat has to say. Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up. Remember, the discount is not continuous. Once that exact 30 is filled, we will close out the discount option and you will be advised to make complete payments. So always try to take advantage of discounts when it comes up. Last month, we did 50%, which means instead of paying 900, we paid only 450,000. But this month, it's now just 33%. Okay, so my screen is up. All right, I think I didn't share my audio, so I'm going to share that now. I'm going to share that now. Okay.
And joining Analytics has been music maths, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, we have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because he was like, he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely, you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable one I've come across so far, and that's a very good advantage. So yes, Analytics for the win.
Amazing. So we heard what Ikmat had to say. So Ikmat transitioned from being a full-time housewife, because that's what she said, right? From a full-time housewife to landing 2 tech jobs in UK with full visa sponsorship, right? 3 months into the program, Ikmat got an offer but she wasn't able to take it because she was still a student in UK then. She wasn't eligible to work above 20 hours. But 1 month after she finished her program, she got 2 offers again. So she had the option to now choose the best one that fits her. So if you still think it's not possible, these are things that we hear on daily basis. So I'm going to play another one so that we also see what the lawyer had to say. Trying to see, remember his name. Okay, because why I want to play it, because most times people worry about, oh, I don't have any technical background. Am I going to survive in this exact area? But these are things that people has passed through. So because of it, we are telling you that you will also be able to pass through. Okay, I think he is not here. Okay, so let me play Abigail's video also, so that we also see and hear what Abigail has to say. All right. So all these things for you to be able to know that it is possible. And most times it always looks like it's impossible because the level of these days, people always feel, oh, it's not possible. But I'm telling you that it's possible. All right.
Hello, Abigail. How are you doing today?
I know. I'm good. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Where are you joining us from, Abigail?
I'm from Saskatchewan, Regina, Canada, but I'll be moving to Edmonton end of the month for my new job.
Brilliant. All right. So Abigail would like to hear your story because, of course, you know, there are so many people here. They want to become business analysts. They've always found it very difficult and think that I must be the most intelligent person on earth to transition or become a business analyst. So tell us about your story. How were you able to make the transition yourself?
Yeah, so coming to, you know, you have this mindset when you come from Nigeria to Canada, you just thought you are landing the 6-figure job and then you are going to be rich in the next 2 months, 3 months or more. When I came, there's a different story. I choked. So I was unemployed for some time, like it was depressing in and out. So I thought to myself, like, I used to think like I'm intelligent, but no, Canada told you you are not intelligent. Like it is zero. So I've always, you know, I got the certification of business. You know, sometimes you just do something. I always say it even in class, you got it and you don't know what it means. You don't know whatever, you know. So I had it and then the search for job, I was called for interviews and all of that. So possibly, I think I fumbled a lot in the interview. So I was like, what is wrong with me? Like I need to do something. And then a friend saw the advert of Terminologies and like, do you think this is something he could do? And before he could answer, I'd already paid my money because I know I needed the coaching and all of that. So I did the coaching. It was in the coaching that I realized I have entered a one chance since that I don't know anything actually, even though I thought I knew. So it was in the coaching that I was, you know, I was really coached to the extent of there was one thing that Daisy or the other guy said, like you could be a carpenter and be a business analyst. You could be a mother and you are a business analyst or a project manager. You could be selling pure water and you are a business analyst. So talk more of somebody that is a professional, like you've worked for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, maybe 15 years. So you are certainly, you know, a business analyst. So what I did after the lectures and everything, not every day I got the time to go through the lectures, everything changed. My mindset changed, my perception about how to go about answering questions changed. So I'm like, okay, now you need this job so bad. How do you think you are gonna like be able to nail it? Now, before then, I was still doing like my $15 job, $17 job, where somebody that got just 2 years experience, 3 years, will come and show you, you need to do this. You don't know this is, you know, and you're like, oh my God, like I've managed, you know, tons of people in Nigeria. Like I have a lot of subordinates, 15, 20, 5 maybe. And then somebody's telling you don't know how to do things and it feels like, okay, no problem. It's not your fault. It's Canada that caused it or something like that. So I now told myself, okay, after the lectures and everything, which I'm really appreciative and grateful about, I now told myself, the dull you inside your head, how are you going to do all this? Because it seems like a lot of information, a lot of things to deal with all at the same time. So what I did, I picked all the business analyst terms, all the terms. So I made sure I know all the terms of business analyst. I crammed it basically. I crammed the elicitation, I crammed what is the use case, I crammed the communication diagram, I understood what is cost benefit analysis, requirement analysis. So,
because our biggest story is very, very long, that if I keep playing it, we are going to sleep here, right? But this is our biggest story. And it started from master classes. She studied adverts, she joined the master class, and then she picked interest, and she learned all the terminologies that she needed to know. And what actually helped her fully was the mentorship sessions and interview prep, right? Like she mentioned, she knew that she was doing something wrong. And this is someone that has managed close to 25 people here in Nigeria before leaving for Canada. But over there, somebody is telling you, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that. And her story practically changed after she joined Analytics. So we have a ton of others on our YouTube page that you can easily just search Analytics on the Google, on YouTube, and you are going to see the amazing success stories that people have to say. All right, we have Ramat here also. Ramat was able to land a job with NHS. Actually, NHS is our highest employer, UK, right? She landed a job in NHS as business analyst after training with us in our business analysis program, right? The role came with full visa sponsorship. All right, this is Temi, right? This is who I've been looking for. So I want to play Temi for the last time before we continue, so that we'll hear what Temi had to say. So because most times people feel, oh, I do not have a technical background. Can I do this, right? And I'm here to tell you that you can do it, right? So I want us to hear what Temi has to say. Okay, let me play Temi's video. All right, it's coming up shortly so that we hear what Temi had to say. Temi, in Nigeria, Temi used to be a lawyer, and he was able to transition to become a business analyst. And this is what we always tell people, that it is possible. All right, okay. All right, it's coming up shortly so that we hear what Temi had to say. All right. Okay. So please, all right, yeah, it's up. It's up. Let's hear what Temi had to say.
My experience with you about my journey with analytics and who are experts in the field. Imagine not having any experience beforehand as a business analyst and finishing with.
This is not Temi. Okay, I think it's bringing Ramat's own up. Okay, let's hear what Ramat had to say. All right. Let's hear what Ramat had to say.
To transition, because I'm going to be briefly sharing my experience with you about my journey with Analytics and how I was able to get a job within 3 months of joining the cohort. I joined them and enrolled for the course. Analytics as well-seasoned facilitators who are experts in the field. Imagine not having any experience beforehand as a business analyst and finishing with Analytics as a pro. Personally, I also got interview preparation sessions that helped me prepare well for my interviews, and this enabled me ace my interview. So if you're looking to transition or you're having any doubt, trust me, you shouldn't, because Analytics is really amazing and you should consider enrolling. Hi, good day.
Amazing, amazing. So Temi was also able to transition to becoming a full business analyst. Okay, so moving on. Okay, I think there's a couple of videos playing in the background.
Because Analytics as well-seasoned facilitators who are experts really.
Okay, there are a couple of videos playing in the background. All right. So, are you still wondering if it's possible for you to transition? I guess the answer should be no by now, because we have people that have transitioned from being full-time housewife. We have people that have transitioned from being lawyers. We have people that have transitioned from technical backgrounds. So it cuts across several areas, right? So if you're wondering, maybe you feel that you do not have the technical expertise to excel here, we are here to tell you that it is possible. Temi was a lawyer, but he became a business analyst. And what he loved most is in analytics was the way everyone was carried along, right? Because our sessions, our classes are always beginner friendly. So because we know there are people coming from diverse area, people have little or no knowledge in that exact area, we tend to bring everybody from ground zero to the upper level. All right. So we have Rufiat. Rufiat landed a full-time role as a business analyst with Post Office Limited in the UK after training with us also. So we have a lot of success stories of people that have transitioned to become business analysts after they've trained with us. And we want your own story to be next. I don't know what you're waiting for. This time to get into tech is always now, and the best time is still now. So please try and join us this coming May. Okay, I don't know if there's anybody that has question, or you can use the raise hand icon, or you can type it in the chat box, and I will call you up to speak. All right? So use the raise hand icon or type your question in the chat box, and we will call you up to speak. My colleague has dropped our links, so you can watch the testimonials on any of those links so that you can see what a lot of people had to say about us. Okay. Any question from anyone, whether it's business analyst related, whether it's the program related, whether it's financial related, we are here to take your question. Our classes runs on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for people in EU, UK, and Europe. And then we have evening classes as well that runs from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time for people in Canada, and that is mountain time. Then on Sundays, we also have classes 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. for UK, Europe. And then for evening classes, we have 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. West African time. All right. Are there no professional exams to be written after the training? Of course, once you are done learning this exact course, I don't know, Tiso, are you still on the course so that you will take this exact question? Okay, Tiso is not here anymore. So basically, once you're done training with us, you should be able to take the first level for CBAP, right? So it also preps you for that exact area. You can comfortably write your CBAP and easily excel in it. We have Elon Marcos, amazing Elon Marcos. Are there remote job opportunities too, especially for those living in Nigeria? Yes, Elon, we have remote job opportunities. That is why we have the Upwork sessions, where we also tend to walk people through how they can land all these remote jobs, right? We walk you through Upwork, where you can get contractual roles that you use to get job externally. Are there knowledge for financial analysis in the program too? Hi, Sunny. So basically, we have financial analytics as a different program running. So we have several courses. We have data analytics, we have business analysis, we have HR analytics, we have financial analytics. Yeah, so we have financial analytics also as a course on this. Also, the way we have business analysis, we also have a program that we sell that is financial analysis. So if that's the one that you are interested in, with the same link that we shared, you will see the option for financial analysis. So select, instead of selecting business analysis, select financial analysis and then proceed from there. Do you help with CV? Of course, Hanti Itsue. Yeah, we help with CV. In what I mentioned, that we tag our employability services, which are in 3 layers. We have the number 1, which is CV review sessions, where we get to teach you how to optimize your CV and make sure that it is ATS compliant, right? So we give you all these additional employability services together with the skill and competence training that we've given to you. Yeah, so we help with that. I don't know, are there people that raised their hands? So I'm not just speaking from the chat box. Okay, remember, you can use the raise hand icon and we will call you up to speak. or you can type your question in the chat box and we will pick it up from there. So any question, comment, clarification from anyone? Any question from anyone before we start rounding up here? Remember, like I mentioned, the discount is not entirely open. It is just for the first 30 people to join the program. Once that 30 slot is taken, the discount is entirely off. And what always happens after sessions like this is that the slot gets taken easily, that if you are still waiting for tomorrow, you may end up not getting that exact discount. So what I always advise you to do is to use the first payment option to lock down this exact discount. So instead of paying complete $500, you can pay $350 instead of, and then before the 30th of May, you can now make the complete $150 that is remaining. Instead of paying 300 Canadian dollars, you can pay instead of paying 750 pounds, you can pay 300, and then before the program starts, you can pay the remaining 125. And the same thing with euros and the same thing with naira. Instead of paying 400,000 naira now, you can pay 400,000 naira to lock down the exact discount, and then before the 30th of May, you can now make the complete payment. Where is the school or class address? Hi, Sunny. So because of what Tech offers, we are completely virtual, right? We have students joining us from UK, we have students joining us from Canada, we have students joining us from Africa. So everybody is scattered across the globe. And we have facilitators joining from UK, from London, from Nigeria, from Ghana. So we have people across the globe. That is why it is 100% virtual led, right? It is 100% virtual led. We make use of Google Classroom, where you get to log in and you interact with your facilitator live. And after the classes, the videos are also uploaded to the Google Classroom, where you can also have access to it. So let me quickly walk us through the Google Classroom so that we see how these are easily structured. All right, let me walk us through the Google Classroom so that we can get to see some of these things. Okay, my screen will come up shortly. All right. So this is how it looks like. Once you join the class, we are going to move you and into one of these classrooms for you to have access to everything that the facilitator is going to be talking about. So inside the classroom, you are going to see the aspects for the classwork, for the people, for so many areas, right? So you will only get to see one class. You might be seeing multiple classes here because I am facilitating some of them. Okay, it's still loading. All right, so once you join the class, you're going to see some of these areas. So let me look for the business analysis for the April guys. So this is business analysis for the April guys. And once you join the class, you are going to see what they have been doing, okay? Still rotating. Oh, why is this slow? So I wanted to walk us through this, but I think my internet is slow. All right, so this is how it looks like. You get to be added to your own class, and inside the class, all the materials that they use for the previous class here, that you will have access to it. The recording for that exact class will also be uploaded here, that you have access to it. The assignment will be uploaded here. You also have to come here and equally update it. So it is fully immersive classroom learning. So once you come here and click on the classwork, you get to see what the business analysis for the April cohorts, what they have been up to. So first of all, they started with the initial, they are sending everything they need to join the class. Then things that they need to install: Microsoft Office, Power BI, SQL, and then the onboarding class that they had to bring them up to speed on what they would do. So all these things, the recordings are also here. So if you had any reason why you missed class, you always have this access. So this is a watch me do it video for Excel that they watch before the class begin. And then come into Excel. This is class recording for that exact class. That once you see it, you are going to have access to everything that they did the previous week, right? This is VLOOKUP. That's what they did their first class and index and March. And then the class material slide. The second Excel class that they had, that's them building their dashboard. This is the class recording. This is the assignment they were given. Then the mentorship session they also had on salary negotiation. It is equally uploaded here for them, right? So we have the slide. You also have the recording in case you missed the salary negotiation, and so on and so forth. So everything that you get to do will be updated in your Google Classroom that you will have lifetime access to, right? You have lifetime access to. So I don't know if there are still any questions from anyone. Please, do you also train product owners? Henty Ituwe, product owner, you are. So basically, for the programs that we offer is business analysis, Scrum Master, cybersecurity, data analytics, HR analytics, financial analytics, and data engineering. Okay. But as a product owner, once you do a business analysis program or you do Scrum, you can comfortably be able to speak, right? So what we always advise people is before we start our classes every year, there's this report that we always review, the World Economic Forum report, right? So this report always tell us this is direction that employment and requirements are going to be in a couple of years. And that is why we have only these 8 courses offered at the moment. And they also list jobs that are going to decline in a couple of years. And do you know the funny thing there? Product management is part of the courses, the jobs that are going to decline. And the reason is because of the rise in the need for Scrum Masters, right? Because most companies are tilting towards agile methodology. The need for Scrum Masters, which are project managers, is now on a rise, while the product managers are on a decline, right? So that is why we are offering only these courses at the moment. We don't offer, we have 3 main reasons why we choose our course. Easy to learn, easy to transition, and make return on investment, right? So that is why we offer these exact courses. I don't know if there are still any question from anyone. Do you have a later class for June? Yes, Hanty, we start cohorts every month. We start a new cohort every month. But what our advice people to take advantage of is the pricing. Because the truth is that the pricing as at today will not be the pricing for tomorrow. And you also have the option of making the payments now and deferring your admission for 1 month, which means you are making your payments April to start May, but instead of starting in May, you defer it for 1 month to start in June. So by that, you've already locked down the exact pricing that is currently in vogue and not wait till June to see the new pricing, right? So that is what we always advise people to do. Okay. But can one learn more than a course? It will be very hard for me to learn more than a course because all of them run concurrently. They all start by 11 a.m. and by 2 p.m. But if you want, once you are done with any of the program, you can easily make payments for another and switch to that area, right? So, but all of them run the same time. It will be very difficult for you to comfortably manage all of them, unless you can be able to divide yourself into 2 places and be at 2 places at the same time. All right. So, are there more questions? Any question for me? Any question for me before we call it a day from here? Any question? Okay, I think we've done justice. Why is Scrum Master so cheap? So our Scrum Master program runs for 1 month. We have 1 month in massive classroom learning and then 1 month internship, right? So it's a 2-month program, but business analysis, they are 4-month programs. So Scrum Master, because it's part of the non-code areas to transition into tech, you only learn how to handle Scrum events, understand Scrum artifacts, know how to use Jira, know how to use Trello. So at the moment, and because we newly introduced it as part of our courses, that is why you are seeing it at that exact pricing, right? So with time, once the influx is high, is definitely also going to, meet up with all those financial requirements. Wow, I can't believe you said our Scrum Master is cheap. For me, that's amazing. Like Ikmat mentioned, this actually is part of the reason why we are the best, because our pricing is actually very, very competitive with what you are going to see out there. All right. So I guess I've taken up the questions. I've answered everyone. In the absence of any other question, the absence of any other clarification, this is where we call it a night. Remember, try to fill in the attendance sheet that my colleague has dropped in the chat box so that you have access to the slide and the recording of this session. And also, don't forget, the discount is only available for the first 30 people to make payments. And all these can be exhausted once sessions like this finish. So I always advise people use the first payment option to lock down the pricing, and then before the 30th of May, you can now make the complete payment. All right. So do we need personality tests to which cost to best fit? So for me, what we do is that once you've made payment and you need clarification with cost to do, we have clarity sessions where we get to have one-on-one with you and understand your historical background, where you're coming from, the courses you've done and stuff like that, so that we can easily advise on the area for you to transition into. All right. So once you've made payments and you've uploaded your receipt of payment, you see the option to select to speak to a professional, and we are going to choose, we're going to fix a one-on-one session to have with you. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for staying with me since 8 p.m. till 9. All right. Thank you. And this is where we call it a day. I can't wait to see you all in the class. Thank you once more and have a wonderful night rest. Bye for now.